down. It was nervous because of a story that North Korea had launched a missile that actually flew over Japan. And it sounded very provocative, and people are afraid of war. I want to speak today a little bit about war. It might be a slightly different approach, but we're going to talk about war. And by the way, I don't need to read Rabbi Yisrael Salanta or other classical Musar works to know that Elul is very special and that every day is precious. You know how I know? Because I suddenly wake up with a tremendous Yetzer Hara, and I know it's the Yetzer Hara of Elul. By the way, if you don't have a Yetzer Hara, please make better use of your time. You don't need what I am about to say. But if you are among those like me who have a Yetzer Hara, then maybe you'll be able to hear a new slant on a very special chazal. We've all heard at one time or another, perhaps learned, the Gemara in Rosh Hashanah that tells us that on Rosh Hashanah, Kol Boi Olam, all the people in the world pass by Hashem, just as B'nai Meron. On Rosh Hashanah, we all go past Hashem. And what is B'nai Meron, or B'nai Charon, as some say? There are three explanations in the Gemara. Let's try to understand these explanations. The first say, it's like sheep in a corral that are going through a small hole in the fence. The owner of the sheep is taking Maisa. So he must count 1, 2, etc. until 10. The 10th one is going to be Maisa. And each sheep passes through this small hole totally by himself, totally alone. The second explanation is like the Ma'alos base Meron or Charon, which means it's a very high path, a trail, with steep cliffs on either side. And if you veer from the path, you're going to plunge into the abyss of the cliff. So you must walk one by one. The third explanation is like the Chayos Beis David, like the soldiers of the house of David HaMelech. And before they embark on a war, the general will count each one. Each one will stand in front of him one by one. The general will count him and perhaps give him a message. One by one. Why does the Gemara need to give these explanations? There must be something more than meets the eye. Let's see if there's a hint to what Rosh Hashanah, what Yom HaDin is all about. The sheep, they have no idea what's happening. But even if they're not aware of it, they're not cognizant of it, but their life is at stake. They can either continue with their life or they're the 10th one and they are Korban. And it's the end of their life. That's what Yom HaDin is. Our contract for life, which Hashem was good enough to give us last year, terminates on Erev Rosh Hashanah. We may not be aware of it. We may try to push it out of our mind. We may not contemplate it. but we're like the sheep of B'nai Moron. Our life is at stake. And we're on a very narrow, high trail. On one side, there's a cliff of all the temptations of the Yetzer Hara. All the temptations to veer from the right path, just to have instant gratification, to appease our, satiate our desires, and mess up our lives. On the other side, it's not even pleasures. It's just the magnetic draw of technology, the phones, the not so smart phones that ruin ourselves. Just to browse, waste our time. I was once on a tiyul on the way to Tzfat. Most beautiful scenery, Galil Elyon, the mountains, the forest. And there was a fellow in front of me going through, browsing through his phone. He did not look once outside the window. Did he enjoy it? No. Was it extremely exciting interest? No. Why did he do it? Everybody does it. He just does it. The way we say that even someone who speaks Lashon Hara does not get the pleasure from it, but it's the koach hatuma that drags it on. So we're walking a very narrow path. On one side is the fall of our sensual lusts, and the other side is the koach hatuma of those things that distract our mind. And we are being interviewed before the war. Because life is a war. The Mesilas Yesharim tells us very clearly in his introduction that we are facing a tremendous war. The wealthy on one side and the poor on the other. Each situation in life is a challenge. It's a milchama. We would like to sit back and enjoy ourselves or, be cool. But that's not what life is all about. Life is a milchama. But I want to leave you with one very special thought about this milchama. It's not like any other milchama. And we discussed it once, the name of Rav Hillel Zaks, Zikron Tzad, Kodesh L'Bracha, when he asked that the Sar of Esav, what does he say about confronting Yaakov Avinu? Lo yuchalo. He couldn't overcome him. Why not? Doesn't Hashem give a malach everything he needs to accomplish his task? He does. The malach that had to destroy Sodom had the power to overthrow it. He could do it. So why couldn't the malach of Esav defeat Yaakov Avinu? It's because Hashem didn't give him the power. That wasn't his task. That wasn't his goal. His task was to challenge. If Yaakov Avinu but fights back, if he resists the malach, which is the Yetzer Hara, then he wins. So we have that guarantee that if we fight, if we get up and do something about it, we try to get closer to Hashem, if we learn a little bit of Musa, we take 5 minutes a day and think about our situation, ourselves, how to improve ourselves, how to get closer to Hashem. If we fight back, we're going to be victorious. And together with all called our brothers, B'nai Yisrael, we're all going to be included with Hashem. We're going to be included by Hashem for a Ksiva Chasima Tova. Have a good year.